Hi, good morning. How are you? Last time we saw the Torah Tzav. Tzav means commandments or command. We also saw briefly about Vaye Dabur and Vaye Mur. Vaye Dabur is speaking, Vaye Mur is saying. Speaking and saying may not have the same impact of Tzav. Tzav, T-Z-A-V, means the command. Probably it's been also connected with the mitzvah. Probably it maybe came from mitzvah. Mitzvah means commandments. Tzav means the command. You know, in order to connect with the God, we need to observe, we need to obey the commands. If we don't obey the commands, if we don't observe the commands, we are not connecting with God. I already told last time about we will be out of the network. We won't be inside the network system. Because if you take a computer, it may have some ports which connects the monitor and the system. A male port or a female port. If you see at the behind, it has a lot of holes and a lot of connections. You need to connect. You need to have every wire to be connected in that poles. If we don't, it won't function properly. Likewise, we ourselves, if we need to function properly, according to the expectation of God, we have to obey the command. We must obey the command. Command is an obligation. It's not like that we like it or we don't like it. It's just an obligation. A Jewish person himself means that he is a person or he is a mankind who is connected with God. Straightly, directly connected with God. That's what a Jewish person means. So in order for us to have a communication with God, we must obey the commandments. Commandments are to be observed regardless. We are obligated for that one. So if we follow a few commandments here and there, it is not sufficient for us to communicate with God. That's what I wanted to stress this on. We have an opportunity now to join with the community, with the original, with the native root to observe all these commandments. And also we saw sometimes some of the sacrifices last time. There were about, sin offerings, or about, thank offerings, or about, peace offerings. And also there were about the burnt offerings. These were the offerings that Jewish people were observing in those days. So when they give the offerings to God, the burnt offerings is very different and very important one, because the command says that the burnt offering should be offered continuously. The flame should be fired up continuously, day and night, throughout the week, throughout the month, throughout the year, and throughout the generations, as long as the Jewish community lives, as long as the humankind lives, the burnt offering should be offered continuously. That is the command that the Bible talks about, the Torah talks about. So how did they do this one? Jewish people were suffering. They were going through a lot of trials and afflictions, and a lot of situations they were going through. But still, then they were offering this, burnt offerings continuously. Continuously, they were offering these burnt offerings. I know after the destruction of the Jewish temple, it's no more being offered, literally, symbolically, but it has been offered through their hearts. But these offerings were offered continuously. It has got a lot of meaning to that one, because the flame represents the passion of a Jewish person, passion of God. Your heart is so passionate to God that you offer, it has to go from you to the God, and then it connects to God. The flame connects to God. That's what it symbolically meant. And it has to be done every generation after generation, continuously, day after day. They'll offer one lamp in the morning, and one lamp in the afternoon, and one lamp for the night, to burn the offering continuously. It's not an easy one to do that one. It was not an easy one to do in those days also for the Jewish people. So the if we don't connect with God continuously, we will be disconnected. We won't be functioning properly. We might have seen that sometimes, the Olympic torch, if you observe that one, they would, light the Olympic torch in the beginning of the time, and until the end of the Olympic Games, the torch will be burned. And the last day only it will be put off. The same way is the mankind has to have these burnt offerings until, as long as the mankind lives. Especially Jewish people, the God's chosen people are supposed to observe this one. I know that you might ask, this all over, nobody is offering. Of course, there is no offerings being done literally because there is no temple there. There is no Jerusalem temple there. And, but, they still follow it, through their art, burning hearts, like inside, continuously offering, continuously connecting with God. That's how they're doing it right now. But it will be sometimes back. Probably, when God comes back, and because that's one thing that Jesus came in to, take away all these offerings and make himself as, as a sacrificial lamb to remedy these offering system. Which Jewish people don't believe it, but that's what our jobs to make them understand exactly what Messiah means, how he operated. So, coming back to Tzav. Tzav is a command that we must observe. The commandments that we must observe. It is not the 10 commandments only that we see something, or a few commandments that we observe and we just get off. We must observe all the commandments. The more commandments you observe, the more commandments you follow, the more commandments you obey, you are connected more with God. There is no other way that we can connect with God. We are chosen people. We are different people. How we are going to be different from other people? The common commandments like don't say lies, or don't steal, or don't do adultery, obey your parents. So these commandments automatically every other religion follows it. Every other religion has it. Every other people, common people are doing it. So it makes us different from the rest of them, because we're going to follow the whole full set of commandments, full protocols. That's what it makes us different from any other people. So Tzav means the commandment. So when the burning sensation in our heart, the positive sensation, the passion of God is burning inside our heart, we will behave positively. We will never have any decision-making problem. We will not have anything like, like this I can do or not. There is nothing in Jewish, perspective that you weigh like whether yes or no. It is only yes, straight away. There is no dilemma in choosing or anything, or giving an action or anything. It is just straightforward. We have to do it. We will do it. That's how the Jewish community is and the Jewish system is. Now, Sheol, we talked about Saul last time. When the Saul comes to the in the play, Saul, what he did, he was supposed to kill all the Amalekites and their properties, which he didn't do it because he saw some fat cows and fat lambs. He thought that, I can give good offering to my God, which came against him, because he must have listened properly what God told him. Listening is very important. Rather, other than you're offering anything, first you must listen and obey. That's very, very important in any Christian life or any Jewish Christian life. So Saul, he did not listen, though he knew all the commandments, though he was observing everything, but he did not listen what God was exactly speaking. That's how he ended up with a lot of different difficulties in his life. Amalekites means negativity. Amalekites means depression. Amalekites means failures, like defeated ones. So you don't want to have the Amalekites in your life, the spirit of Amalekites in your life. You have to win over the light. You have to win over those Amalekites. That's what you have to do it. So that's what offered for Saul, where Saul failed to do that one. Because of that, he saw there is a generation came up from Haggagite, Haman the Haggagite has raised against the Jewish people. And there is another person who raised from Saul's descendant who is called Mordecai, So if we leave those things, if we don't observe those commandments, if we fail to observe these commands, probably we will be, receiving something generations after generation, some bigger sin. That's why we have a lot of problems, because our generation failed to observe the commandments. Our generation failed to attach with the Jewish community. Our generation rejected the Jewish community, which Bible never talks about that one. Bible tells very clearly that, that you need to attach with those community. So we took everything from them. We took the God, the blessings, everything from them. We are trying to take it, but we are not observing, which is absolutely wrong. Because as long as, if we need to get all the blessings were given to Israel, if we think that we can get all the blessings just reading the Bible, and some pastor comes and blesses you, oh yeah, you get the blessing. No, we are not even connected to those systems yet. How come we can claim those blessings? Logically speaking, we cannot. We may think that we are just working, operating outside the network system. In the final days, it's up to God to decide who is good, who is not good, who is going up or who is going down. It's up to Him. But right now, the logical speaking is that God gave the Bible, God gave the instruction to get it connected with the system correctly. That's what the Bible talks about. People may think that probably, I talked a lot in the last time also about the Ten Commandments and about the observing the Old Testament, and I've told you already. Some people also were asking me questions about Jesus came, about the tithings and everything. He in the New Testament never talked about the tithing, because the disciples were giving all the receiving all the money from the saints, and they're distributing everything equally to the public. It's kind of the tithings and all. It's not necessary in the New Testament. We have to give more than tithings. Well, tithings are there, because you must see the system which was made by the disciples were not being told by Jesus. Jesus didn't tell them to do in this way, or God didn't tell them to do in this way. That was an arrangement made by the disciples at that time period to operate, because it was fresh in the history. It was fresh. They're coming out of Jewish community, and it was not easy to survive those days. When you come out of the Jewish community, even now it was very difficult to survive. So they made some arrangement. Bible never talked about stop the tithings. No, you have to give the tithings and press the offerings, whatever you offer. More than that, that's totally different issue. So you cannot say the tithings are not right. It is not written in the Bible. I'm sorry about that one, because if you read the Bible, it was only the decisions were made by disciples, not by Jesus Christ or not by God. God didn't say that one. Go ahead and collect everything and distribute. It is not a communist system, or it's not a social government that you bring money and then you distribute everybody. No, it's not that. I'm sorry about that. So I think I gave the answer right now. And also, Tzav, again, the commandment, or connecting features for us to be with God. So I would encourage you guys, I would encourage everyone, think about this seriously, and try to understand the Jewish community system, and try to get the more knowledge, and then try to attach with the Bible, try to attach with the Jewish system and the community. And also, if you learn more, if you go and study more, you will understand the amazing awesome experience with God's and its mighty power and its glory. And that's what I am experiencing now. Last week I had the opportunity to have the Passover festival. Absolutely phenomenal festival. We have the Passover feast, the meal the same way Jesus ate on those days. That's what the meal that we had on last week. The meal has so many things. The meal has the bitterness, the meal has the sweet, the meal has the tears, the hyssop, and every meaning to that one. We read the whole Exodus book, and the plagues were spread on the table in a small toys to, just to remind us, or, just to, think about those days, how the Jewish people came out of Egypt. So it was an amazing, amazing.